Adnan, good to see you, bro.
Good to see you too,
It's always a
man.
pleasure to see you, man. You're a big guy. I don't know if I'm getting smaller. You're getting bigger. I don't know what's happening, man.
Thank you. I'm down some weight, up some muscle.
No, I didn't mean big like that. I meant big, tall guy, right? Which is like a gentle giant kind of thing.
Thank you.
And
thank
it's
you.
just like, I feel like every time I see you, you're like this towering knowledge, basically a tower of knowledge, right? So I love having you on the show.
Thank you. I
love what you do, and you know that I'm always a huge supporter of you.
Thank you, man.
And then also you just gave me a preamp, like a pre-show, before the mic goes on, and I always joke, recently I've been joking a lot about how people don't know how much work's involved behind the mic actually starting, and getting things ready, and then you just kind of gave me a little pre-roll of who we might be speaking with or about, some details, some projects, interesting things that you're going on, some of the interesting projects that you completed last time that you were on the show.
Yes.
So it's just like, all right, let's get right into it, man.
Okay. Sorry.
Share the information. Let's get the information. You got to answer the phone, or you got to, what do you got?
No. I was just putting it on silent. I don't want it to ring right in the middle of whatever it is. So
mine's on silent since 2018, man. So it's all good. I keep it there. ACAD Modular.
ACAD Modular Design, it's I've had it for 5 years. Celebrate our 5th anniversary this year. I'm very proud of it.
Nice.
And working on a whole slew of things. For those who don't know, I guess I'll talk again about a little bit about me really quick. Let me see. Born and raised London, Ontario, London boy, and graduated Fanshawe College, mechanical engineering, majored in design. Then from there, I started renewable energy industry from 2005 to 2009. So I did solar PV, solar thermal. Then the market crashed, as you know, in 2009.
The American market crashed.
Yeah, and then Canada went through a little bit of an issue then. But at that time, solar did like a big boom at that point, is where it kind of started.
How come it just disappeared?
The solar, I think, well, it was a lot of it was fueled by the incentives, feeding in the microfit and fit projects.
And then they stopped.
And then they reduced it, and then they made it lower and less, and then it just kind of was too much feeding into the grid. Too much people signed on. Too much people got solar. Too much people went in. Then
so
there
they
was
started a program. They convinced people to use it. Yeah. And then now it's become too many people.
And the majority of the windmills that you see down by like Grand Bend and all that area are going to New York State. So
they're dismantling them and moving them?
No. The energy is actually being taken into New York State because they need more electricity there. So we produce too much, and then this is going back 2010 or something.
Why not spread it across the second largest landmass?
I have no idea. That I don't know. I was a 25-year-old kid trying to make a business. I believed in it. I still do.
Did you learn a lot of great lessons while you were there?
A ton of lessons.
That's what I figured.
A ton of lessons in business. Lessons in right way, the wrong way, right people, wrong people to deal with. I learned a lot. It was a very expensive education when that happened.
But as a 25-year-old at that point, what are you thinking? Like when you're looking at people and you're trying to, lack of a better term, change the world. Yeah. And then you present change the world ideas. Yeah. And then they say no or yay, nay, whatever. What are you thinking?
For me, it was actually not that. I was a 25-year-old kid. I was working full-time for companies, and then there was a layoff in 2009. I was working for a company called Enerworks, which is not around anymore. It was a wonderful little company. They made solar hot water heating panels.
Okay.
And once that happened, I was like, well, what do I do? 24. I was very optimistic, and I want to do this change. I still am, and we'll talk later about some of the change I'm doing. And I said, well, what do? Let me try starting my own company. Why not? So I rented this little office in downtown London. A friend of my dad's actually owned the building, and it was on the main level of an apartment building on Dundas and Maitland in downtown London. Okay. And I rented a little office there. Started out, and I remember the first day, I was 24, I just rented this little office. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, well, what do I do? So I just started doing things and meeting people, trying to learn about business. And then, the things started progressing, and then I had a business partner, and, all these little lessons I learned. I was the passionate talent guy, and the other guys I found more was either the guys that were really into it just saw the money, and they were like, how do I...
It's hard not to see the money.
Yeah. And then it kind of blinded them, and it really didn't, everything was on me, and they were putting too much on me, and it was one of those things where, they wanted me to be the genius that they thought I was. I was a smart kid, and I was good at what I did, and it was just too many guys that were twice my age looking to make a quick buck, and it just kind of, that's the people specifically I was dealing with. I don't want to badmouth anybody, and it just didn't work out. And then at the end of the day, it just, I did about 5 projects, and then,
Then you guys went your own ways.
Then we went our own ways, you know. And then at that point, I was about 27. I took about a year off. And my last microfit project I did was for a gentleman that was a part owner of a modular building company that built trailers for ATCO.
I remember,
right, and then that's what started me into the modular business. I talked to, and then I called him up. I was at that point I moved to Toronto. I was living on Dundas and Keele in the Junction.
So Dundas in London, Dundas in Toronto.
Dundas, yeah. I was like, Dundas.
You're basically becoming a Portuguese, man. You're being a pork chop at that point. Yeah.
I loved living in the Junction. I loved living there because, right next to Little Portugal. The Nova Bakery and on St. Clair, and I used to go there all the time.
It's not like that anymore, though.
No? Oh, man, I've been there in a while.
Toronto's completely changed. You know how when we were growing up, Toronto had little pockets of different cultures?
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
Unfortunately.
I guess Chinatown still stayed.
Yeah.
It'll always stay that way.
Chinatown, No, I loved it. I used to walk north, and I used to go to Keele and St. Clair, and you go make a right, and you got the Nova Bakery and all the Italian restaurants over there. I used to love that. There's Piri Piri. That was Portuguese
it's still there. That's still there.
That's still there, right by the bridge?
There. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I used to go there a lot.
One hell of an ugly looking building.
It is, but the food is tremendous.
Food is amazing. The fish, the grill, and everything.
Yes, it's amazing.
We got to ease up on the food talking because apparently some people listen to the show and they go, all you guys talk about is food. And I was like, fuck you.
It's my hobby. I love it. I fucking love food, man.
There's so great food, but I just like, that's the one thing about Piri Piri. It's like that building is just horrendous looking.
Yeah.
It's just an ugly concrete looking
kind of.
It
had the wrought iron bar doors and right on the side of
when I think of the food and I think of the building, they don't go together.
No, but that's the best type of food. The hole in the walls. They're wonderful.
I love that.
Yeah.
We veered off.
Sorry, man. I used to. Yeah, those were my stomping grounds. I used to go there a lot. Blue Earth Village is my favorite place. I used to go to a place called the Swan there all the time. Yeah, it's going back a ways. So I had a great time after that. I was starting in modular, working as a sales guy, commission only, and I just kind of steadily started going up and up and up from there, so to speak. And then moved to Mississauga, got married, all that, and now I'm 40 years old. 2 weeks ago, I turned 40.
Happy belated.
Thank you very much. Yeah. 40 years old now.
Everybody's getting older. I'm seeing all these kids that I knew in the beginning days of construction. They're all getting closer to 30 or crossing 40 now.
I know. I go back home sometimes. I see some of the kids. I'm like, when the hell did you grow up?
If you're lucky, you get old.
Yeah.
That's just bottom line.
I feel blessed. I feel really blessed. I rented a nice cottage in like Turkey Point. Had all my childhood friends there. Nice.
It
was beautiful. We walked down to it was cold, but it was amazing. At night, we just walked down to the beach there. And
nice.
It was beautiful. So it was. I feel blessed. I feel great that that I reached this age, and some of my friends didn't, like everybody else, right? And then here we are. So, but that's.
Just share the information. We're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Sure.
So share the information so everyone knows and they can reach out to you, right?
Sure. My website is acadmodular.com. And you can find my email, my phone number,
everything's social connections and everything.
Social media
connections. But under social media on IG, it's under ACAD Modular, right?
Under ACAD Modular, under my personal name, Adnan Zabian. I do a lot of stuff under either or. And then I'm on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook. I just haven't used it in a while, but I am there. I still post things on.
I'm telling you, man, I tell people I love LinkedIn.
Yeah.
If LinkedIn
it's my number one.
Gets out of my way regarding all their stupid ads and asking me to increase the premium, which I will never agree to, but I do like the connection and communication and impressions that are going on LinkedIn for a business point of view.
Yeah.
I totally appreciate it. I think it's better than IG these days.
Yeah. So I like LinkedIn. It's my go-to. It has more who you want to talk to. Yeah. But I love IG too because you know what? Sometimes you want to. I post on both. You just kind of.
I do both. I post on, but the other one that you should probably consider also is YouTube Shorts.
Oh,
YouTube Shorts is doing really well. It's being a strong competitor to IG.
Really?
It's being a huge competitor to IG.
Okay, I've seen it, but I didn't know exactly what it was.
I think more people are spending more time on Shorts than they are actually watching content on YouTube.
I agree with that. I do it sometimes. A half hour will go by. I don't even know what happened.
It's the attention. Like you could just scroll through the shorts, right? And you get a bunch of shit,
5-second attention span.
Yeah,
bang,
that's
bang,
all
bang.
it is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Let me do a quick shout out. It's going to be a Cava day or a Cava show, whatever. I got their hoodie. Thanks so much, Massimo, for giving me the hoodie there. And then, let's get right into it. Where do you want to begin, man?
Well, I can, let me see here. I can begin. Well, a couple of fans of your show I want to give a shout out to.
Sure.
Number one, Vito Ferrante from Light Age Inc. He's a custom lighting guy. He's been there for like 30 years. He's actually, believe it or not, he's right next door to Dennis you had on the show of us. Yeah, I go there all the time. He's right next door neighbor. Dennis is a wonderful guy, by the way. It's awesome. Just gentleman. Right next door to him. And like I said, if you call him, Vito will pick up. Like he's old school
How do you know him? Through the industry?
Well, actually, I know him through the industry. I actually had a little office in right next door to Dennis too. Okay. I go there every Monday.
Small world,
and then,
man.
yeah, I do. Yeah. I just consultant work for him. And here's his website. I just want to show everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
He actually, funny.
What's the name of the company?
Light Age Inc.
Okay.
And this is his website here. He does custom lighting. And it's funny, actually.
I'll get him on the show. We'll talk.
I would. Hey, Vito, come down. There you go. You got an invitation.
That's how you get on the show.
Yeah. He has. Funny thing, actually. You remember the Palazzo nightclub?
Yeah.
In Woodbridge?
Yeah.
I even went there as a London guy in my early 20s. He did the lighting there. That was one of his, like.
So he goes way back.
He goes way, way back. Like, you can see some of his projects here. He did a Lacoste retail store, all custom, really nice high-end lighting.
This is the one thing I like about commercial applications. If you ever get into the construction industry, it's a playground.
Yeah.
If you could actually work well with a team and designer and architects and everybody that's involved, and client, of course, and the actual branding and everything, it's a playground. You get to do things that you'll never be able to do in residential construction.
Yeah, and he has lots of really cool. You should see some of that.
I can
really
imagine.
Neat stuff. And I think I'm specifying actually his lighting and his stuff for my Hamilton project. Actually,
where's the Blaze Pizza? Is that good?
This one I believe is this is the downtown Toronto one. I think I don't know exactly where. You'd have to interview.
I've done a square. I'm going anywhere near there, man.
There's IQ offices here.
He's gonna have to change that to whatever they're gonna call it next. It's not Dundas anymore.
I don't know what it is.
So you bring up Dundas twice with London and Toronto. Now they're changing it to Sequala or some shit.
Something like that. Yeah, that's what they're putting it in. That's what they're doing. It is what I don't want to comment on.
No,
I don't want to get political here.
No, IQ offices. Okay.
IQ offices, Via Sibo restaurant.
He's got a big team.
No, a few people. You know, like he was a lot bigger back in the day, but then he downsized, but he's still doing really good.
Connect us, and then I'll make the suggestion. If he wants to come on the show, we could talk.
100%. I love talking. Great personality, wonderful guy. I'd love to have him on the show. So. Vito, get your ass down here. You got an invitation. So, and another one here actually is MC Design and Build. Actually, this is a company I've been doing consulting work for, doing some drawing work for. These guys actually specialize in dental work, dental offices, regular offices, workspaces, commercial stuff. Also next door to Avast. They're in the same office as Vito.
What's going on with that building?
I know, right? 2601 Matheson. That's where they are. They're right next door to Avast's place, like they share a wall.
Everybody's in Mississauga?
Yeah. I'm in Mississauga as well. So we're all here, but you can see some of the services they do.
And who's the owner there?
Andrew Jedruziak. He's a wonderful guy as well. I've been doing work for him.
Okay.
I should give him a shout out. You should get him on too.
Yeah,
I think him and Vito would be a good team to
for sure.
be on here. He can talk about some of the challenges. He goes way back into construction as well, all the way back to Poland. Like he's way back, goes into construction. Very good guy, awesome guy.
So he's a Makita guy then?
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
He's Polish, he's Makita.
Yeah, and
I'll argue that any day.
Yeah, I work with him, and he's got a decent amount of. Sorry, I went to that wrong. But some of the stuff that he's done, you can see.
Oh, look at that, huh?
Yeah, Dominion Men's Store.
I'm telling you, man, it's a playground. When you get certain projects, it becomes a playground. It's wonderful.
This is actually the Bar Goa he did downtown. I did some 3D modeling work for this one, actually.
Where's that located, Bar Goa?
That is on Queen and Dufferin, I think. Or maybe it's right downtown. I think Dufferin and Queen, some around that. Or actually, no, a little bit east of that. But
do you remember Intor Construction?
It rings a bell.
Do you know Barrow on King Street, King and Spadina?
It also rings a bell, yeah.
So Intor did it.
Okay.
So they and I was always chatting with him, and I kept on bugging him about coming on the show because I wanted to actually start having a lot more conversations about this playground stuff. Like I love this kind of stuff because it's a different breed of contractor that does this, right?
Yes.
And unfortunately, he passed away last year.
Oh, no way.
Younger than me.
Jeez.
His son's taking over the business now.
Yeah.
But that was a shock.
Yeah. Well, Andrew actually, his son's working with him, Philippe.
Nice.
And a young kid, he's a great guy. Just got married actually, and he's really on it. He's good. So
I like
he's eventually going to be
Yeah.
probably taking over MC as well.
We'll get him on. Well, you'll connect me and we'll get him on the show.
I'd love to have them on there. But you can see some of the stuff they do is just really, really cool stuff. Like it's just a lot of offices, dental offices, some restaurants, and Bud Express. They did that one too, the one downtown as well. So. But I want to give those two guys a shout out, and
awesome,
we'll get them on the show too. So Andrew, you got an invitation too to come down here. So, but that's basically what it is here.
Then we go back to ACAD. Build the future you dream of with Generation Construction. Your home is where life happens, where your style shines, and where your future begins. Whether it's your first home, a space for growing family, or a place all your own, you need a builder who understands your vision and brings it to life. At Generation Construction, they ensure your home is everything you've imagined. Greg, the visionary behind Generation Construction, knows that today's homeowners, they want more than just walls. They want a space that reflects who they are. At Generation Construction, they don't just build houses, they craft homes that are uniquely yours. With a reputation for excellence, trust, and a commitment to working with the best, Generation Construction offers a seamless, stress-free experience that ensures your home stands strong for years to come. Contact Generation Construction today at 705-961-5562 in the Muskoka area and 647-381-0361 in the Greater Toronto area, or visit them at www.generationconstructionltd.com. For inquiries, email Greg at greg@generationconstructionltd.com. Let's build your dream project together. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
Back to ACAD, here we go. So, but yeah, you know what? I started ACAD because working in the engineering field for about 13 years, even till now, I work with Dr. Louis DeRazio, who's a lead engineering group. So I was always the guy that was doing the design and everything with him, partnering with him on a lot of projects. And you should get Louis on here. He's got a hell of a lot of stories to tell you.
Keep it up, Adnan.
Yeah, I'll give you more guests, man.
And bring more
Louis
people
would be great. Louis would be an awesome guy to actually interview. He has so much knowledge, man, and he mentored me a lot when I was
nice.
So during that time when I was out of the renewable energy industry, I took a year off. That's when I met Louis. And I met him under obscure conditions. I was doing some work for an HVAC company in London, and he was there. He was doing some. You just knew him, and we got to talking, and then I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and so I started doing work with him, and till this day, like we still partner on projects till this day. So, but I was kind of along the way while I was doing working in the modular industry. I did everything from sales work to even did some production work. I learned how to do insulation, like bad insulation and all that,
Working with the C-cans or working with the
trailers mainly.
Okay,
yeah. I learned how to do that, the Atco trailers. I was one of the best lag bolt guys attaching the frame to the floor. Like I learned everything because I literally went from, I wasn't just office. I actually did production work for about 4 months. Learning how to do everything, how to put the trim in. And that gave me a hell of a good education because when I'm specifying things and we used to do scheduling, I would know exactly, okay, well, no, it actually takes, 45 minutes to trim a window as opposed to the 15 minutes that it shows the other guy put because he thought, well, you just 15 minutes. No, it takes about 45, for example. So, and then I did design work and engineering work and, and just constantly going on. Then I started thinking, well, what else can you do with modular? Because at that point, I was only doing mainly trailers, sales offices, and wood frame modular stuff.
You wanted to get into more living spaces?
Living spaces.
Or workspaces, living workspaces.
Everything. What else can we do with it? Everything from living spaces to workspaces to, little houses to drop and go villages, like everything. Like when I saw it, I'm like, we could do a lot more with what's being done with it. So then I started kind of doing things on my own time, just designing things on the side. And then, I was chatting with somebody and I started showing them this. This is like right before I started ACAD. I looked at everything and they're like, why don't you start a modular design and engineering company? You got the experience, you got the thing. Why don't you do that? I said, okay. So I just kind of started, but I still had a job during that time because I was getting married. So I was like, okay. So and then after I got married in 2019, I moved to Mississauga, and then all of a sudden, I was like, okay, well, let's start it. Let's see what happens. And then I started it, but basically nothing. And then I started going. Things started moving ahead, and started getting one thing after this, and then designing this. And I was still doing traditional stuff too, just to kind of keep things going. But along the way, that's when I met Jeff from the mill. That's when I met other. Started getting other projects where either it came as traditional and I made it modular, which is like a backwards engineering approach, or they just didn't know what to do with it, and then I recommended modular, but I still did some traditional.
What's the primary reason that you get clients speaking to you about going the modular route? Why do they start that conversation?
Because usually 9 times out of 10, especially in the last 3 years, I would say, when everything started going nuts after COVID, I want to build it faster, I want to build it cheaper, and I want less headaches. And I heard about this on Instagram, or I heard about this on Facebook. Oh yeah, somebody told me about this modular
So the
stuff.
first three, are those true?
They can be. It depends on the application, depends on the design, which is where I come in.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes in and say, I want to build this massive 7,000 square foot home in King City with winding staircases, and it's not going to be cheaper. In fact, it'll cost a lot more.
Yeah.
It's meant for specific applications as to what you're doing it for. So for me, for my modular designs, primarily what I've been doing more of is either micro developments, multi-unit residential stuff, and small commercial stuff, little restaurant units and things like that. But they were mainly designed to be modular to begin with. So we can do the backwards engineering approach, but again, it's not meant for every single application.
Yeah.
Right. And not yet, at least, because sometimes they do something called a hybrid, where they have some modular, then they panelize the rest, and then, or they do a traditional, and then they do a modular on like an addition, right? But
what's the thought process for that then? That they want to do a hybrid? Why would they?
So if you're doing an addition to a house, instead of interrupting the house for 4 months while they're doing construction, you interrupt it for 2 weeks. You lay down your foundation, you put the modular unit in, you open up the wall, and then like a week later, you're occupied.
I'm just curious, would you be able to modularize a barn?
Potentially, yeah, you could. It depends on how the design would work so that it makes sense cost-wise and installation-wise. So you would probably do part panelized, part modular, like you would kind of do like modular units on the side, and then you do an archway, let's just say, for example. So it's an alternative way of constructing. It
seems like a hybrid system.
Like it would be a hybrid system.
Yeah, so you're building, I guess, part of the perimeter would be modular,
right,
but then the core of it would be traditional or panelized.
Panelized, traditional, then they would adapt to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally.
And that would still save time, save some money if done properly, and designed properly. Then it can do that. But realistically, what I've seen, and I've said it before, I've seen overall, if you go 100% modular on projects, whatever it is, you overall save about 10 to 15% of your overall project cost. How that happens is your on-site labor goes way down, and your material costs may go up a little bit. It is going to be more than buying everything and putting it together, but the trade-off is you're still saving 70%, up to 70% of your on-site labor cost, which then gets offset in terms of the additional 30 to 40% of your material cost. But when you're buying modular, you're buying a complete unit. Yeah. You're not just buying just the siding and just this, and you're buying the whole thing ready to go. Or another option is something actually I came up with years ago when I was working with another modular company, is base build. So we finished the outside, we've put all the windows, we do everything. On the inside, just finished the drywall and primed. Electrical and everything's roughed in. You install it, and then you finish that while it's done, when it's done on site. That is another alternative method people have done when using modular, in terms of, because sometimes, especially when you're dealing with like exterior finishes such as like stucco, if you do the stucco inside of the factory, then it gets delivered on site, and then the other half you're trying to do stuff, you can't quite match it.
You'll never match.
It won't look the same. You could see. So if you do, say, base build, where the stucco will be primed, and then you paint all of it on site, same thing with the interior. You paint the walls a certain color, then you go to attach it to the existing building, it doesn't look quite the same color. Most of the times it doesn't look quite right. It's a shade off.
Is there a carbon footprint reduction associated with it?
A large carbon footprint.
Really?
Yeah. Well, reason being,
factoring in everything, because you still have to transport material to whichever base place that you're actually going to be assembling.
True.
And then you have to deliver and transport the unit completed to site.
So with carbon footprint, I would say on site, yes. In terms of the factory part, that's a little bit out of my area of expertise. I don't own a factory to give you a definitive answer, but it is overall, it is less. However, if it becomes automated more and less physical, if it becomes more automated in the production process, the carbon footprint gets reduced as well.
Okay.
I'm not an expert in carbon footprint. I don't know, but I do know.
According to the OBC, it's coming, right? So our government is trying to implement this, right?
They're trying to implement more modular. It is the future of building things. Not to say that traditional is going to go away completely, because that's kind of an ignorant. It just won't. But
you're dealing with North America, and you're dealing with customization.
Yeah, always. So
North Americans love customization.
They love one of a kind.
especially the Americans.
Oh yeah, I was down there. Oh, possibly they like it.
They like big pieces of land and big pieces of property.
Yep, I was down to Florida twice this year, and absolutely they do. Even if they have to have a small house, they like the big land and they like all that. So but it's going to grow in terms of being an alternative method of construction and an alternative, because also timelines. The biggest thing is also time, right? You know, it takes a long time to build something. And if we
average is a year, right?
Yeah. So if we can reduce that with certain projects, certain things, and certain applications like affordable housing, right? Then that's what they would consider that. But the issue is still modular is a teenager in the construction industry. It still has some growing to do. Not every single modular project.
I like that.
Yeah, it's.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. They're like a 16-year-old in high school compared to the traditional way, which is a professor in university. They got some growing to do, and even with the modular engineering, we have some growing to do, because there has been some negative press about certain modular projects for the public housing. Like one like pop up here and there. But that's
in what respect? They're the units themselves
delays and they haven't been delivered,
but the quality of the
build is on point. It's there once they get delivered.
Okay.
But the issue is that that's not 100% the reason. Like, it's not to do with the actual modular itself. Well, there's a modular project they did and it's not done yet and whatever. Well, that maybe have to do with the actual management or something. But the actual way it's being built is no issue with it, actually. It's CSA approved. Everything has it's more tighter tolerances. It's a better quality build. It lasts longer than a traditional build in some cases if it's steel. So it's not so much that it's the actual industry and how things are done here that needs some growing to do. You know, there's only so many step deck trucks that can go around. There's only so much cranes that can go around. And then there's also the payment structure is a little bit different than done in traditional, things like that. So it has some growing to do. And then the legislation, too, has to catch up to that. The building code is starting to get updated and becoming more
We've
modular.
done enough shows to understand that it's not the industry that's slowing down the progress of building.
Yeah.
It's the political landscape and hanging on to their jobs as political ministers that is slowing down the process.
Yes.
That's a fact, but nobody ever discusses that.
Yeah.
Well, nobody on the political side of things ever discusses that.
Yeah.
But that's actually a fact, that it's not construction, it's not lack of labor. It's basically the development fees, the zoning, the approvals to get, like, literally putting up the starting ribbon up. To get going. Yeah. That's the process that's delaying everything.
Also is another big thing too. We find that been coming up too. Like I was at the World of Modular Expo in Orlando this past year in March. And I met with a great Turkish company called Dorche Group. I know them. They're really great people. We had dinner together and everything. And one of the things is that they're having a hard time breaking into the North American market, yet they do over 200 of these things a day overseas where they are. Right. So, and they're like, well, what is it? Like, we don't really, we want to enter this market. We want to do all that. But, we do over 200 of these boxes a day, like single units a day. Whereas, we went to that one factory and they do about 15 a day. Yeah. These guys do 250, up to 250 a day.
Is that the number that Farrell is doing? They're doing 15 a day?
That's what she said. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So about 15 a day to run 3 shifts.
And so they're doing 200?
250 up to 250 a day. Yeah. They can produce. Yeah. So
I'm going to think that Canada is more welcoming to modular than America.
It is.
Okay, that's what I figured.
It's been in America for a long time.
For everybody who's not watching and just listening, we're just online looking for. This is a Turkish company?
This is a Turkish company. I haven't done any.
What is it? Dorche
Group. DORCE, Dorche Group. These guys, so they were there, and I met with them twice when I was down there. And these guys overseas are doing things all over the place. Like
40 years of experience.
Their sectors: oil and gas, mining, defense industry, and NGO, humanitarian, refugee. This is why we connected really well, because this is very similar to, they were offering their support for my Kenya project to do this kind of stuff, emergency accommodation units for earthquakes.
And they're getting into residential too?
They're getting into residential. Yeah, some of the stuff they're doing here.
That's impressive. So they just can't factor in why North America is not so embracing.
Well, yeah, not as much, because they're saying like you can see here, this is for 10,000 people. This is the kind of stuff they're doing overseas. Yeah. Right. And then but they really want to enter the Canadian American market. So, but the issue is that they're seeing that, they have to invest a heavily amount of money into building a factory here. The CSA and the legislation, they need to kind of find a way to accommodate that, but they have to invest something like a large sum of money for them to assemble here and do that. And I hope they do.
A home built on trust, crafted with care. Your home is more than just a structure. It's where memories are made, where your family grows, and where you find comfort. That's why your renovation or building project deserves nothing less than the utmost care and quality. Because it's not just about creating a space, it's about creating a place where life happens. Tim, the heart and soul behind Ravineview Construction, understands that your home is personal, and whether you want to be involved in every detail or prefer to leave it in the hands of a trusted expert, he and his team are here to make your vision a reality. At Ravineview Construction, every project is handled with the passion it deserves, from the initial site assessment to the final touches that turn a house into a home. Tim's team doesn't just build, they protect what matters most. With a reputation built on trust, excellence, and a commitment to using only the best materials, Ravineview Construction ensures that your home isn't just beautiful, it's built to last. Tim and his team work alongside the finest tradespeople, guiding you through every step so you always feel confident and cared for. Let them help you create a space where you can enjoy peace of mind and cherish moments with those you love for years to come. Connect with Ravineview Construction today at 416-671-0170 or visit them at www.rvchomes.ca. For direct inquiries, email Tim at info@rvchomes.ca. Let them build not just a house, but a home filled with lasting memories. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life.
Like, I was just having dinner with them and stuff, right? And we were just chatting about stuff. And
why can't we just get an international standards? Why do we need to have different standards for every single country?
That's one of the things.
Like I hear it all the time when someone comes up with a product or someone's trying to build. Yeah. It's all this stumbling block on the CSA bullshit, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand why we can't.
I think Intertech is trying to do that. Intertech, yeah. Okay. Intertech is trying to get into that, kind of standardize all that. With me, with the experience that I've had with either of them, it's been only when I was doing the production facility, when I was working at a production facility.
The CSA, are they like, they have to justify them being there?
In terms of who? Like
to get their approvals of products that we want to use in Canada, do they just have to justify their existence? Because why can't we... Like, this has been tested to death in other countries.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why can't you have a track record where it's like 60 countries here have accepted this, but yet Canada is like putting up a red flag going, no, hang on a sec, you got to get
it has to be done to our standards, even though they built units in like northern Russia. Like, it's like way colder
that's what I mean,
and more brutal.
We've gone beyond extreme weathers of anything cold. Yeah. So I don't understand why we can't just get a pass to get it approved here. And I go back to, is CSA just justifying their existence?
I don't know on that one. That's a little bit beyond me, but I do
try to get them on the show and try to find out why you guys are kind of slowing things down.
Yeah, because that's actually a big thing that's been holding up a lot of people. I met with somebody else years ago. He had it was a company called Seneca. They do like radiators and things like that. And he had a hard time trying to get the CSA approval without having, like, their pipes and they do piping and they do lots of things. And they're based out of Turkey as well, and they do big business on the other side of the world. And it was hard for him to bring products here because they have to invest an insane amount of money. And they've had, they got certifications in Russia, here, like all over. They have list a mile long, so does Dorche, list a mile long of approval.
There's your resume.
Yeah, so like I'm not sure. I hope maybe we can. I
don't know. We'll find out.
We can have them on the show too. It's another guest maybe for you. You can talk to Sarah. She's a very...
So you met them at the show there, and you were just chatting with them about their business?
I met them last year in Vegas, and then it was that same World of Modular show. The next year came along, and I was there, and I just saw them again. We ran into each other, and then went out to the lobby, started chatting. Then we went to dinner later that day, and then we started talking about all that stuff, saying like, I told him, look, I'm here. I'm a little guy. I'm a small little engineering company. I'm here to, I'd love to specify your product and do whatever you can and help you guys any way I can. So. But I think with them, because they're such a massive operation, I'm too small maybe to do something in that capacity, past design for them. But who knows? Maybe they can say, well, you know what? Why don't you help us get this thing to the Canadian market, and why not?
That might be a possibility.
I can get Sarah on the show for you. I can get Marat on the show for you.
See how they're kind of working things well.
That's more. I'm lining up like 5 guests for you, man. and you
it's
know,
fine.
show, that'd
It's
be
totally
great.
fine, man.
Yeah, like
that's the purpose of those shows anyway. You go to these trade shows, you can bump into these people and just figure out what they're doing and see if it applies to you here.
Yeah, it was great. I was humbled that they remembered me. They did a beeline for me. The show was opening, and then we go in. There's like the social part. They had like a live band and everything. And then right when she saw me, she just did a beeline for me and started chatting with me. And we ended up having dinner together, and everything was great. So we kept in touch.
The reason I go to the trade shows, man, is for the dinners, man.
You should go to World of Modular, man. I really do.
I'd love to go check it out.
It's such a cool show.
Other interesting things that you saw, or any?
Yes, the technology, the robotics.
Really?
Oh my God, it's really going to a whole new level. So one of the things actually is that
threatening the labor force.
I don't know about threatening the labor force. It's they can't produce things fast enough in order to become a big viable section of the construction industry as a whole. Yeah. So I remember we had Sabrina over at Faro. Yeah. She said we're only 3% in Canada or something like that. So in order to get to that 10-15% of the construction being done in Canada in the timeline that's needed, it's going to be hard to hire 4,000 people and where you may have to automate some things.
You should automate some things.
Just to speed it up, right? Yeah. Like I said, hundreds a day. I don't know the exact number. They said 200 to 250. Don't quote me on that, but hundreds a day they can do. And Faro has the capacity to do it, but it's going to be hard to do with 100% man labor, right? So
you wouldn't be able to achieve it.
You just won't. So, however, if you have a tool that's punching out studs, and then you have a tool that's assembling those studs, and you have a tool that's doing this, and you still have the labor, same 40 or 50 people or 100 people, but you're punching out all those extra things without having to retrain, hire 200 more people, logistically trying to manage all those things.
It's a hybrid system. You're working with the robotics.
Yeah.
You shouldn't look at them as a threat. You should look at them as an asset.
It's a tool.
That's it. Simple.
It's a tool. Like this laptop is a tool for me doing my job. I can hand sketch all my drawings.
Of course.
But obviously I don't need to. I got this. So it's helping my job. It's making me get stuff done faster.
Would that show is every year or every other year?
It's every year.
It's gotten that big now, huh?
Yeah, it's done by the Modular Building Institute. They're based out of Charlottesville, Virginia. And they have a chapter here in Canada as well. So MBI, they have a show every year. This year it's going to be in Vegas. February? It's going to be in March.
In March.
So March of this year, March of next year is back in Vegas at the Bellagio Hotel.
I can't stand Vegas.
Me and you both.
I have yet to meet an American that says I hate Vegas. They love going to Vegas for the trade shows.
You know what? Last year,
good luck, guys. I just don't like it.
Last year, it was so much degeneracy. It was unbelievable. And it kind of took away from the show, right? And it was at the Bellagio. It was kind of in the back quarter. So when we were at the show, it was great. But you come back to the casino and the thing, and you're trying to meet with people, and there's just I'm past
that hurdle when you first go to trade shows and you're like, oh, it's in a different city and you're checking shit.
It's a party, yeah.
I'm like, it's all business for me. When I do a show, if I plan, I make my grocery list of people I want to speak to, companies I want to touch base with. I want to just get into conversations and have certain things going. Yeah. That's my purpose for the trade show. I don't care about the social media celebrity aspect of it. I don't give a shit about that anymore, right? I never even cared about that in the beginning. Yeah. But the trade shows if you're going there, you're only going there for 4 or 5 days or whatever. Yeah. You go in with a purpose.
Sure.
And you go and you come out with a lot of opportunity to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of the year.
Well, a very good friend of mine, Robbie, who maybe I'll call him in, his ITTS founder. He actually gave me some advice, and he said, listen, you're on a mission. He comes from a military family. So he's like, listen, you're on a mission. Your mission's to go there, do what you need to do, and come home. That's your mission. Don't get lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Don't get lost in the pretty bells and whistles and the party and everything. You're on a mission. Treat it like a mission. So that helped me because, like you, I'm all business, but when you're around all that kind of stuff, the difference is with this past show, it was in Orlando. It was in a quiet country club, golf course. It was much more laid back. It was much more focused to the business. I loved it. Good. I liked it better than Vegas.
Good.
Hands down. And I was telling the MBI people there, I'm like, I like this spot better. And a lot of people were saying it too. I was having there smoking a cigar with somebody, and he's like, I like it a lot better here. It's more calm. It's more relaxed. It's not crazy. I was like, yeah, I know.
There's other great cities in America that it could be held in. I mean, like if anything, Texas makes sense. And you can pick
Houston?
A big city, Houston, Austin, whatever.
My God. Dallas.
Like that would be a great city to host it, right?
It would be amazing. It's right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Chicago would be a great city. That would be awesome, like in Rosemont or something. It's a great area to host. I've been to all those cities for different shows. DC would be a nice, they got a nice big place there too. I went to a solar expo like in 2010 in LA, in Anaheim. That was a nice
That would have been good.
Yeah. So
there's lots of shows. I mean, I'm trying to backtrack on the shows nowadays because I got too much going on with this show and other stuff. But I'll talk to some people about what they're doing and what their experiences are. You've been to IBS, right, in KBS? You haven't done IBS, International Builder Show?
We're not in Toronto, downtown?
No, that's in Vegas or Orlando. It's a two-year kind of thing.
Haven't you? No, I've heard of it. I've never done that one. No.
It's gotten bigger and bigger. I've been there like 10 times.
Wow, okay.
I've just been there so many times. I've been there when it was in Chicago, when it was in Atlanta, New Orleans.
Okay.
Now it's just Vegas and Orlando, which is just a shit show. Last time I was there was when COVID started.
Okay.
Right, and I was flying out of there, and that was the last time. Other than that, then it just became a shit show afterwards, and then I wasn't really seeing anything new. I was disappointed. The last 2 years that I was there, I was like,
same guys.
I haven't learned shit.
Yeah.
I haven't learned anything. And the purpose of me going there is to learn. So then I started I did the exact same thing that I did at the beginning of it when I was in Toronto. You go to the building show, you go to Construct Canada, you go to all these shows to try to get knowledge.
Sure.
But now I've exhausted all the knowledge from those shows. So then I went to IBS and KBIS and I go to those shows.
Yeah.
You go to coverings, floorings, and you go to all the shows and you're just learning, right?
Yeah.
But now I've exhausted. Nobody's really showing me anything interesting or new that I'm like, okay, that's a feasible.
You got to go to WOM because actually one of the biggest things they have is the actual expo floor time is like maybe 20%.
Really?
The other 80% is actually information sessions, speakers, seminars. I love that stuff because it's, one guy's talking about net zero housing. One guy's talking about this system that he invented that's a stainless steel flooring system that looks like a honeycomb. And then you use that to feed all your wiring and everything in it. And they were going to be using that technology in Neom, the big Neom things. So they were doing that. That was one person. The name of the company slips my mind. I went to the information session. I just sat in and just looked at it. It was a really impressive system. So there's a lot of these type of people actually.
European system?
No, it's American.
American system.
It's American. I forget the company name. It really slips my mind. But they did that kind of thing. And then there was another person that has this airbag system that helps produce when you're producing modular. It's you have it underneath because one of the things is when you're producing the units is either you have it rolling along the line on the set of wheels, and then you got to use hydraulic jacks to get it up and on the truck. This one is like a bag that you inflate, and then you just push it with one person. Just down, and then you deflate them, and it sits, and it's done. Inflate it again. It was just
kind of like
amazing.
A hovercraft or something.
Like a large hovercraft kind of thing. And you produce your unit on top of it, and just blow it up when you need to. You move it. You deflate it.
See, the person who came up with it, that's the person I want to talk to and go.
It was the guy who invented it. I was talking to him.
Point, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think he was a family did farm equipment originally or something, and they used to use this technology to move those big tires around. Is how he told me, I believe. The name of the gentleman, I'm sorry, the name slips my mind, but he was there last year as well.
Kind of reminds me of the windbag. The windbag to hold doors when you're hanging.
Yeah, exactly like that. It works just like that, and it helps you move it nice and easy, but this time it's like scaled up. Then he had this little mini thing on his table where he had like a little scaled down version of it. And he's like, here, push it around, show it.
Interesting.
So you see a lot of that stuff, a lot of robotics companies. There was another company out of Turkey there that did mobile medical units, kind of like what the mobile dental thing I did. That I'm currently doing actually, and
I remember that one.
Yeah, so that's going ahead. That's with DC Modular Group. The owner, Laurent Albaz. Another guest I'm going to have you on too. I'll show you some photos of. That's another guy. You should have him on. He's he has a company that he has a long, interesting history. He dealt with medical and dental equipment and doing that. Then he came to me saying, "Hey, I have this idea." And I want to do it. I know it's a little crazy. This is during COVID time too. Because I know it's a little crazy, but can you do this? I said, what is it? He said, I want to be able to have a dental office that when somebody calls that I have a toothache or I have a cavity, the dentist comes to you. I said, okay. He goes, I want it self-sustained. I wanted this. It took me like 2 years to develop this thing with him, stage by stage, step by step, a lot of revisions, a lot of that. And then we came up with this, and then he was able to. Now he's actually getting the prototype built. So he's in the process of he got some funding, and now he's going to get the prototype.
So planting them in different areas, different communities.
Exactly.
Kind of idea?
Yeah. And then so we're getting the first one. He's getting the first one built. I don't want to show too much. I think if you have him on the show, I'll show you a lot more.
He can talk more about it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, awesome speaker. He's from Montreal originally. He moved down here and all that. He's a really interesting guy. So I think you should have him on. You can talk more about that.
Yeah.
So he started a new company, a DC Modular Group, and then he's going to be launching this hopefully soon. Later this year, next year, he'll be having the prototype built, and then we can do that. So, but there was companies out of Turkey doing that. There's a lot of new cutting edge stuff. And every time I go to the show and I see this, and I'm like, man, like I wish this stuff comes into Canada. But the problem is, every time they say that, and I thought, well, why aren't you doing this in Canada? Why don't you? He goes, well, cost of the CSA or cost of the Intertech and getting it recertified and retested and intellectual property and all these things start popping up. This guy's original design, he has to contact an IP lawyer. So that way he has to.
Isn't like China right now building entire floors and dropping them on top of each other?
Yeah, hotel in 18 days. Yeah. That's similar to the honeycomb thing I was telling you about. That's one of the guys that spoke at.
So why are we not doing that here?
That's what my company's trying to do. The short answer.
Like it makes sense, right? I know off mic before we got started, you talked about a project where consider expert plumbing and drains. When it comes to plumbing, you need someone who's not just skilled, but truly cares about the job they do. Someone like Aaron Bolin and his team at Expert Plumbing and Drains. Aaron has been in the trade for years, and he's built his reputation on one thing: commitment. Commitment to his craft, his crew, and most importantly to you, the client. At Expert Plumbing and Drains, it's not just fixing pipes, it's about delivering the best possible service every single time on every single project. So whether you're dealing with a leaky faucet, a stubborn drain, or planning a full plumbing overhaul, Aaron and his team are ready to tackle it all with skill, integrity, and a passion for excellence. Need help now? Call Expert Plumbing and Drains at 905-531-4111. That's 905-531-4111. Or visit them at www.expertplumbinganddrains.com and on social media at Expert Plumbing and Drains Canada. Experience the difference of working with a team that's dedicated to getting the job done right. Because at Expert Plumbing and Drains, your satisfaction is their top priority. You can also email Aaron directly at aaron@expertplumbinganddrains.com. Expert Plumbing and Drains, where expertise meets care. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. You were building, what was it, 7 stories or 9 stories?
Yeah. So that's so right in Hamilton on Barton Street East.
Yeah.
There's a client of mine, he's a dentist, Dr. Vegesh, Roseland Dental. If anybody needs dental work, go to him. So I'm just dropping names. He's a great guy, Roseland Dental and Jane in Eglinton, just south of Eglinton, Toronto. So anyway, he owns the land, right? And it's a 17-foot by 60-foot lot.
It's on Barton
Street East in Hamilton, right in the old neighborhood of Hamilton. The whole street's getting gentrified. The whole street's getting redone. So, if you've been down there, it's working. It used to be working class Stelco neighborhood.
Yeah.
2-story houses, very narrow and small building. So I credit this, Hamilton, the city, for doing this. They say if you stay below 22 meters in height, if you stay within these conditions, you don't have to go to committee of readjustment. You just go straight to permit.
22 meters in height is what?
About 50 some odd feet, 52 feet or something like that.
Okay.
And they said if you stay below this, you go maximum 9 apartment units, and you stay set back from this, and they did all the criteria. You go straight into permitting. You don't have to go
That's a good
committee
thing.
of adjustments and all that. So if you look at the development map in the city of Hamilton, when you get a chance, it's all red. Like all of that street is all being completely. So we had this little lot here. And on either side of them, they're ready in for permitting. So he's like, well, how the hell are we going to fit 9 units into this thing? So I was like, you know what? Let me get something. Let me figure it out for you, basically. So I came up with something like this here. Let me give me a second here. I'm just loading it up. So I came up with this design here.
So 16 feet wide?
16 feet wide. And it's by about 60 feet deep. And then on the main level, you have to be 3 meters away from the sidewalk. So I did this crib assembly, kind of a crib design that I did for him. I still have to present it, but this is essentially the concept, and that made him say, okay, go ahead, do the full thing.
So 16 feet wide is narrower than a double car garage.
Yeah, very narrow. So, and you have to be able to try to fit 2 cars, because also there's a garbage room there, and you have to be able to fit something. So,
and you went 7 stories? No, 6 stories.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on a rooftop patio. So basically what I came up with is it's called a crib design, where basically your setbacks on the main level
Yeah.
Right? And basically when you walk in on the main level, and there's an elevator and a staircase. And then the suites start, and it's just 2 per floor. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and then this one's a 2-bedroom and 9th, the penthouse suite.
Okay.
And then I got a rooftop patio. So this is all my original designs, the renderings I did. Actually just did this last week.
Do you have the floor layout?
I can bring up the floor plan for you.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Okay, wow.
And then this is the rooftop patio there. I told him, you want a rooftop patio? He goes, well, that's the rear there. That's the rear suites.
Is there currently a building coming up on the sides?
On either side. This side, he's already in.
Okay.
And that side, I believe, is starting to get into it.
So, and they're going to be the same height?
Yes. Well, up to. Some might be 4, some might be 6.
Yeah.
This guy for sure, because he has a sign on the building. It's an old 1-story building. It's closed down. Okay. That one for sure, he's already in. He's doing a 6-story. So Barton Street's hot right now. So it looks to me, I'm not a real estate guy, but it looks to me it is. But this is kind of like the nice facade. And then there's certain criteria. They want a certain amount of brick and a certain amount of that. So early stages, but I'm going to load up the floor plan for you. It's PDF.
I'm just curious how it's laid out.
Yeah, no problem.
16 by 60 feet.
Yeah.
But then you got to have space for elevator.
Space for elevator. So the suites aren't big. They're they're small. They're like 400 square feet, 500 square feet ish. Like they're not massive, but I can bring this. So right here this is the top level.
Yep.
You got the elevator over here.
Yep.
I might have to revise this a bit, but here's the elevator right here. This is staircases. And then this is the entrance going into the 2-bedroom here. And it's a fair size with this top one. So you see it's 18.4, including all of the finishes and everything.
Yep.
And then you have, again, these are preliminary. They're not 100% set in stone, but this is the first version of what I did. You got your washrooms, you have your bathroom, you have your bedroom.
Is it my age, or is that front facade wall on a slight angle?
Yes, the whole lot's on a slight angle.
It's on a slight angle?
Yeah. So that's another thing we have to kind of look at is that.
Why is that by design, or is that by?
That's just the way the street is.
The street is designed.
Streets like that. Even the lot. If you see the lot and the grading, it's on a slight angle in the front.
Interesting. So the neighboring building goes on the same angle.
Same thing. The whole thing's a little bit askew. Yeah. So it's and then this is the basement, main level.
And you're fitting 2 cars in 16 feet.
Yeah,
that's tight.
Trying to. It's tight,
That's tight.
Again. But this is made. You come in the lobby here, elevator, staircase. You got a mailroom here, electrical, mechanical room, and the garbage room here. Now, since you only 9 suites, you don't need to have this giant dumpster.
Yep.
We would have to have some garbage going down here, and then they just get put out right here. So this is your setback, right, on the main level here. Yep. Again, there's still a lot of design revisions I have to go through, but this is...
when are they planning on starting construction?
This coming year, 2025. He wants to do it. This is a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor layout. So you can see it's just one half. You have a little bit of a smaller one. It's a bachelor apartment. Over here you have a 1-bedroom.
So you're parking 2 units per floor?
2 units
except
per
for
floor.
the top one?
Except for the top floor, 9. So you have to stay below the 9 units.
Wow.
Yeah. So... it's
tight.
It's tight, but I'm introducing certain things where you have movable partitions. So if this guy here, like he has a den bedroom over here, you have movable partitions so that it's an open area.
Yeah.
Murphy beds, repurposing. So if you're in one spot, by moving partitions, you can create other spots. So I got this idea actually way back when I lived in the Junction, actually. I lived in that small 600 square foot on Heintzman Street condo. It was a bachelor apartment. So I'm sitting there, I was like, man, I don't got a bedroom wall. It's just all one, And I started coming up with little ideas as to how to separate the units. And then I came up with the idea, and then I started seeing on YouTube back then, like where you have movable partitions. Yeah. And they're saying, well, if you only have a small space, why don't you make different spaces out of just by moving this and putting this? It's a bedroom now. Moving this, it's an office now. Moving this, okay, it's open to the kitchen. So I kind of want to introduce that same kind of stuff to here. So we have a lot of pocket doors. I have a lot of smaller,
which makes sense.
Yeah. So if a person wants to make this into a kind of a living room, opens up partitions, you got a living room, and then you just slide down the bed, and then there it is. So the same thing with over here as well. So that's why I say den/bedroom, because I'm going to be introducing movable partitions and all that to make it feel like, you're not.
How big are those bedrooms? They're roughly what?
7'3" by 11, so about 80 square feet. This one and this one is about. Let me see here. This one is probably about. I would say 8 by about the same. 8 by 16. So it's a little bit bigger.
Almost 17 there.
Yeah. So about that. This is very early. By the time the final iteration comes, I might have some revisions done.
When did you get on the project?
This one actually just started, what was it, last month?
Okay.
Yeah, it's brand new. I just started it. Still very early in the process, but I'm very excited for it. Like, I'm still playing around with the idea of, do I put the elevator and the staircase in the middle and then go bigger on either side?
It's anybody who's like listening that wants to get into construction or wants to perfect their game. I think you really practice in tight spaces. I think it's too easy to build a 10,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
And just come up with the rooms and the design, the flow and everything. I think is a challenge when you start getting to really tight spots.
I like tight spots.
I mean, it makes sense. If you can do it really well. You can totally do it really well.
It all inspired me. Again, I was 28 years old. I just moved to Toronto. I was living in a little 600 square foot apartment. And it was a brand new condo building. It was great, but it was small. It was literally like a hallway. It was like maybe 10 feet wide max. And then it just went straight. And then it had one window, one sliding, one Juliet balcony. But I loved it because for me, it was like it was a symbol of my independence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I loved it. I loved every minute I lived in that place. But then I got sick of it not having a bedroom, not having So I'm like, what the hell can I do? So I started buying these IKEA things and stacking them and separating the space and doing all that.
Modular. I mean, you can move walls. You can make walls moving. And I remember years ago, there was a lot of stuff that I was introduced to regarding Murphy beds turning into office spaces, movable walls that were the back of a bed or back of an office, and then you expanded a room to function well for an office, function well for a bedroom. You can do all these things. They're all options out there. For sure you can.
They're all there, and then especially now with modular, they're trying to. I would like to start embracing that more into the modular, because if the modular industry would design-wise, what I'm trying to steer it to is it's a modular system, yes, but it also is synonymous with this kind of a method, space-saving solutions, green energy solutions, self-sustained solutions. So I want to carve its own path. I don't want it to be always just compared to traditional all the time. I want this to have its own thing. Kind of like construction trailers. They have their own thing. They already have their own market. They already have their own use. Modular can have that same thing instead of trying to get convoluted and just trying to compete with traditional all the time. Right? So I want it to have its own. That's what I'm trying to do with ACAD, is trying to steer it that way.
Oh, you're doing it.
No, thank you. I'm trying my best. So anybody has a project looking to do modular, needs some design and needs that.
You still getting the inquiries for the ADUs? And
I still am. Yeah, I still am. I did do a couple of preliminary designs for some ADU actually, this brings me to my next thing, that I'm developing actually some pods for MC Design and Build. He's starting a new division called PPH Modular Solutions. Okay. So basically what it is I actually developed a pod where it's 10 by 10. Each pod is one thing. So it's 10 by 10 kitchen, 10 by 10 bedroom, 10 by 10 staircase.
And you just drop it in?
Just big Legos. 10 by 10 Legos. Drop it in.
Like a Jenga or something like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
So basically, if somebody has either a home addition they want to do, and they want to disrupt the house for 4 months, they ordered a bathroom pod, they order a living room pod, drop them in, you're done. If somebody wants to do a micro development, like the owner, Andrew, he wants to say buy a lot, right? And if it's a lot that's, 80 by 120 lot that's in Kleinberg or something, right? They have big lots out there. So he's like, okay, why don't I do a micro development on that one and build 6 houses and minimal time right on that same lot where there's just one house, right? So we kind of start playing around with this idea of the micropods. So I said, okay. So I came up with that idea and I started designing it for him. We're still doing it. So we had a soft launch to the website. We're going to be doing like the full thing once we finish all that. Actually, this is one of the things I want to, we're in the process of hopefully launching for 2025. Okay. Where it's, so PPH is pods plus panels equals home, right? So I'll bring up I
like that.
Yeah, pods plus, that was our tagline that came up, pods plus panels equals home. So because...
and this is coming from the MC Design guys?
This is MC Design. He's starting a whole new division, and again, soft opening of the website, still not 100% clear. We actually came up with this, P plus P equals H. Positive, so this is the kind of work. Our own design.
And they're all designed in like module cubes or what have you.
Module cubes. This is just some samples, design samples.
That's pretty slick, man.
Yeah, like this kind of stuff. This is a demo that I did, and again, the website ain't 100% going. It's up, but it's not 100%. But this is kind of stuff we want to do.
But you can see the possibility with it.
Yeah.
Commercially and also residential.
Yeah, commercial, residential. We have a pod. This is our solution, ready-made. His crew comes in, they install them, we get everything going. And
wall assembly wise, I know, like, how do you? Yeah. What are you talking about now, wall assembly wise? Are you still going at? It's all metal frame, but it's still a 2x4 cavity or 2x6 cavity.
2x4 on the walls, 2x8s on the floor and roof.
Okay.
So metal. 4-inch studs wall.
Yeah.
8 and 8.
And then you're meeting all the OBC standards where you're getting the right
CSA A277, and then there's another one A305, I believe, and then there's new ones coming out.
to get all the installation standards.
Yeah,
and
but with this one, we're actually trying to get to the Passive Housing Canada standards,
Really?
which is net zero minimum, technological, like zero. Try to get net zero footprint. So
what's
that's
the
what we're
benefit
trying to get
of
with
getting
this.
that? Like
The net zero?
Yeah.
Long term, I'm just actually now starting to study to get my certification in it. But from what I've learned in meeting with companies that do it, the advantage of it is your hydro and your bills are going to be next to nothing. Your heating bills and all goes way down, and the quality of the build is done a lot better, and the standards are like there's a building they showed me that they did that had a R50. Up to like R200
on the walls,
on the roof of a commercial building. It was like R200. I've never seen R200, but that cut down like the heating and it reduces the gas that you're using for heating the place. So, for example, if you're pumping out so many cubic meters of gas to heat the place, if you do the net zero thing, you're reducing it by a great amount. Again, I'm not certified net zero. You got to talk about net zero.
I'm just curious about it. But what's the oldest net zero home in North America?
I don't know.
Or building or whatever.
That I'm not sure.
I'm trying to figure out how far back are we going, because the thing is, when we start talking about all these ideas of doing different things, we don't have history to reference it. We only have the structures that were built before, and we're big. We're all huge fans of century homes. Century homes have lasted centuries.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And
double
for a
brick
reason.
wall and all that. Yeah.
And then we also know the European style of building homes, and then you can even go as far back as castles and the thickness and thermal. And
those are passive house,
basically
net zero type.
Basically,
double
but we're
brick
building
wall.
New versions now, right?
Yeah, you got the Victorian houses.
Yeah.
Like growing up in London, it's full of Victorian houses, turn of century houses. Double brick wall, newspaper insulation, plaster walls. Like, you just need a little radiator in one room and the whole freaking thing is warm. Yeah. Right? And they're trying to go back to that with today's technology, right? Kind of thing. So
but that's what I mean, is that all these new dwellings that they're building, are they performing the same as good, if not better, than those old buildings? That's the information I would love to try to find out.
You know what? I know somebody who's very knowledgeable in this. Yeah. She works for a TWG interior design company.
Okay.
I'm going to hook you up with her. She's very, very knowledgeable in that stuff.
Because I'm all about it, but I want to make sure that these things are going to last 100 years plus, and then they're going to have, like what they say, like you just mentioned, how you're going to be next to nothing using your utilities to provide for this structure, right?
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, then what's the point of doing all this effort? We haven't really. And then I get into the whole marketing machine. You get a lot of companies that just jump on board because they're in bed with governments, so they'll start pushing products that may not necessarily be good.
Yeah,
they're good today, but they'll be good tomorrow. We don't know. We don't have, their data from decades ago because it doesn't exist. It's all theorized, right?
Correct.
Attention aspiring tradespeople and entrepreneurs. Looking to break into the skilled trades or start your own home service business? Meet TradeLinks Consulting, your go-to partner for success. At TradeLinks Consulting, they're passionate about helping you find the right trade, build your business, and mentor the next generation. Whether you're exploring your options or ready to take the plunge, they offer tailored career consulting and startup guidance to get you on the right track. Visit them at www.tradelinkconsulting.ca today and book your personalized strategy session. Your future in the skilled trade starts here. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. What's this we're looking at now?
So this is the pods here. Just a sample. This
Okay.
is PPH pod. I just want to kind of show it to you, kind of the potential of what it could be.
It's very cool, man.
Yeah, so it's just floor plan, makes it easier. So, again, movable partition. So you got a living room pod, blank pod, which is your filler pod, stairs, kitchen, mechanical electrical pod, washroom, another blank one. Your blank is going to be your filler, right? And then you got your laundry, walk-in, office, den pod, dining pod. Put together, I just put them all together,
Yeah.
And this is what you have here. All 10 by 10 footprint, and then it's open, and then you can potentially put together a beautiful little bungalow here.
So with the blank pod, what are you doing? You're providing just a floor and a
floor,
ceiling.
roof, ceiling, and then depends on what wall you need opened, or if not all four, they remain open.
Yeah.
They get buried into the wall, and then you got movable partitions to make it even. Because I was like, well, 10 by 10, that's, you know. I said, well, yeah, but if you link them all together with a blank one.
It's an average European Asian apartment bedroom. That's what that is.
10. You know, I wish
it's not a North American bedroom.
No, and again, this is for somebody looking for the starter house market. This is going to be key for it.
Yeah,
because the starter house market needs some tweaking. It's $1 million for a house now. All right, you know, my parents' little semi-detached in London, Ontario, 2-story semi-detached,
$25,000.
You know, my dad bought it in 1998 as an investment property for like $82,000.
Yeah,
okay,
under $100,000 easily.
Now it's worth like $550, $600 at the craziness. Now it probably went down to like $430 or something. But it's nothing special, right? It's just a 3-bedroom, you know, 2-story semi-detached, and it just went insane. So that was supposed to be the starter house of those days, right? 2-story semi-detached, you know, and then so this is kind of hopefully gonna be the new versions of starter houses. And not only that, people like me. And other people, especially the generation coming up, they want to travel more. Yeah. They want to do more of that kind of. They don't want this giant footprint of house. You know, the culture's changing, right? There's always going to be the odd person that wants a mansion, of course, but for the most part, people just want functionality, something they can build some equity in, something they can, you know, live in, and you know, and eventually they can grow and go bigger. But the beauty with this one is, if you want more room and you have the room, you just order another pod, make it bigger.
Yeah, you can do that.
So that's I developed this.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So
you wanted to? Did you want to touch upon the Kenya project?
Yes. Yeah. So this is kind of this helps me segue into that.
Yeah.
So I'll just minimize this. Let me just minimize all this stuff. I got a lot of stuff up here. Okay.
So the Kenyan, what are you exactly doing in the Kenyan project?
So basically, I'll go to the main thing here. So in 2014, I met Robbie Stokes, and I talked to him previously.
You mentioned him on previous shows.
I did,
well.
yeah. So what happened is that he's the founder of I Talk to Strangers, and actually, I got a gift for you actually here.
Oh yeah,
this is a lanyard.
Okay.
From our peace walk that we had last summer. There you go. I'm wearing one too. Peace, love, unity, because that's what it's all about. So no problem. So one of the things is that that we did was we came up with the Peace Village, and how Peace Village started is that his whole thing is youth development, and especially he was born and raised in Cocoa, Florida, which is one of our Peace Villages, is going to be there, hopefully. And he, you know, came from a military background, his dad, and all that. And he started this, worked in D.C., and you know, government job, the whole deal. Lived in Georgetown and lived all that. And he started this and traveled the world, and then he came up with his youth programs, and now he's trying to essentially build. He has the 4 C's. I'll go to the website here. Yep, here we go. You go about. If you go scroll down, this is a peace walk. I'll show you that video. It's a nice one.
He does it annually.
He does it annually. I was the one this past year I did it.
So there you go.
Community, campus, corporate, culture. Okay. So this is whole thing is that he's building this where. He wants to build these peace villages to focus on the youth coming up, especially you know, in developing nations and where he's from in Florida, and hopefully all over the country and all over Canada. He has a chapter here in Toronto.
Does he?
There's an ITTS Toronto. They have one there too. So if anyone wants to check it out, absolutely. I'm going to show you the footage of the. So this is the peace walk. It has music. I don't know. You want me to keep it muted?
Yeah, I'd probably keep it muted because I don't have the rights to it, right? So we don't know.
No problem. So this is the peace event here, and we did with the city of Cocoa, Florida. I was down there. It was hot as hell. That's all of us there. I'm on the.
It can never be too hot, man.
Yeah. Oh, it was so wonderful. Yeah. Though. I loved it. Walk outside, her sunglasses got fogged up. It was just. I loved it. So
he's originally from Kenya, but then he moved to Florida.
No, he was born and raised in Florida. He's in Kenya currently.
Okay.
And we're working on a peace village out there as well. But this is one that we did. There I am over there with the ITTS. That's David. He's an awesome guy. He's our local guy down there. He's an IT engineer. And that's Levander Hearn. He's actually the deputy mayor. He's been an amazing, shout out to him. He's been amazing support actually for bringing about awareness about Peace Village. So what this specific Peace Village is supposed to do is this is a organization called Crosswinds. It's geared towards the youth that basically has been going through the adoption process and never really got adopted, basically.
Okay.
And as youth development, and they basically up to about 17 years old, right? But past 17, they don't really have anywhere to go, and minimal and even more minimum prospects of where am I going to go? What am I going to do? So a lot of times they actually fall to the streets. They end up getting caught into trouble. And so we came to them and saying from 17 to 25, we're going to be doing Peace Village. Kids move there. They have a 5-year plan. They learn a trade. They learn certain skills, life skills, anything that's going to make them better. Even do some pre-courses for community college. That's me. I was doing the water station, actually. After the walk, I was just like, forget. That's David over there. So we did this peace walk to kind of, this was the premiere after we, of the announcing the Peace Village. So I'll show the, what's going to be basically. So it's going to have classrooms, it's going to have all that. So where I come in all this is I'm on the advisory board now for all construction for them. So where I came in all this is saying, how do we build these things? What do we do? I said, well, there's modular. Well, how do we do it in modular? And then I developed a whole village. So it's solar, it's self-sustained. So I'm combining my past renewable energy experience with my modular experience, and I came up with this. It started off as a pet project, and then essentially the city of Coco said, well, yeah, we're supportive of this. Let's try it. Let's do it. So
how long has it been around now?
So this one, we've been chatting since early this year. We've been chatting with the city. I would say realistically, before it actually starts to get built, it's probably going to be well into next year. Yeah. Because there's, people we got to talk to, community redevelopment associations to present in front of. We've spoken to the city manager. We've spoken to the deputy mayor. They're all supportive of it. So now there's a community redevelopment association.
Is the government getting involved? Are you getting any
hoping, but
involved?
It's going to be, right now it's just grassroots. It's just private funding. So basically what it is we're trying to just get private funding, any grants that are out there. It's a 501c3 organization, so it's a top tier nonprofit. So if anyone wants to donate, by all means. There's going to be community gardens. Let me bring up the imagery.
And everything's starting in Florida right now, right?
Yeah, so I can go back to, I'll even show it on my website. I have it here. So.
Oh, this is what you guys are planning?
Yeah. ACAD Modular Village. Okay, here we go. This is on my website too. So this is the front entrance that I designed. Yep. It's going to be 52 housing units set up in minimal times, community gardens. It's going to have a security. See,
this is brilliant because I think every community should be having this kind of community epicenter.
Exactly.
For them to come in and contribute. Everybody contribute, right?
Yeah. Classroom, community gardens, computer labs, housing units, safety. This is a community center here, the Central Rotunda. We might have single unit out there. So this is like the kind of the initial design that we came up with, that we premiered there at the Peace Walk. And this is one of the things that essentially I built up this template and designed this thing from scratch to be the solution of from 17 to 25, what do we do with these kids? Where do they go?
Yeah.
They go here. They learn a trade. They educate themselves, and they learn community gardens, and it's basically also minimizing gentrification. Yeah. So because Brevard County specifically is a predominantly African-American community, and there is the issue of gentrification coming in. So they want to at least have it where it's on their terms. We want to redo our community with how we want to do it. So I fully support all that. And essentially the first how they want to start is on the youth. We want to help these kids. Coco's a young city. There's a lot of young people because a lot of people either went to work at Cape Canaveral right across the bridge. I went there. I saw rocket launches and Elon Musk. I saw a couple of his launches. It happens every day. It's a trip being there. So they either go there or they go to like Tallahassee or they go out of state or whatever it is. So it's a young city. One thing I noticed is there's so many young people there, like 25 and under, so many of them. And the deputy mayor is probably my age, maybe even younger, and the city manager is probably around my age. Like it's a very young, very like city excited for some change, looking for just a way to move
What's his name
forward.
again? Sorry.
Robbie Stokes is the
and he's
founder.
the one that started all this.
He started ITTS, and I just kind of joined on, and I'm on the advisory board now, and I came up with this, and now he's pushing youth programs and Peace Villages.
I love all the programs. I love all the community stuff.
Yeah, it's this is for me. I look at it, and my all of the years, all the setbacks I went through in the engineering business, trying to start my own company and not working out, and this, I feel, I'm like, well, this is going to be a summation of all my work. But you could easily
put this in any city.
Any city at all. So this is Kenya, right here. This is another country. Slightly different. This one's more self-sustained. So there's wells. So there's a rainwater recovery system, micro power plants, totally self-sustained, so it can support itself. I actually have a little bike pedal pump for the well in case the solar power isn't enough or something happens. So I have fail-safes for everything. Right, and there's a classroom in the middle, same central rotunda, solar-powered lighting, rainwater recovery, solar, PV, and solar hot water heating, community gardens. You can see a lot of similarities here. The whole theme is, again, trying to, this one's a little bit different, where they're actually trying to do the same thing, youth build over there in Kenya. And again, Kenya, like that I found, it's also a very young country.
Yeah.
So many young people there, and they're all just looking, and so much talented people there. Like there's just actually a coastal part near Mombasa. So they're building up a lot of gorgeous beaches, by the way. If you could look up Mombasa, like the beaches like white sandy beaches, like Cuba, crystal water.
Really?
Stunning place.
When were you there?
I haven't been there yet. I will hopefully be going there in the next couple of months, probably February. Not a bad time. Not a bad time to go. Yeah. Now, the difference with this one is this more than likely will be built probably before Cocoa Well. And that's more need.
Why is that? Oh, because they...
Less bureaucry.
Okay.
Let's go. Come on. Yeah, we want it. Let's go. Come on. Let's do it. So it's this more than likely out of the two. If I were to put money on it, this would probably be built first or started first at least.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, not to berate.
No. But you want to get them both going,
right?
Yeah.
Like this one's less processed because they have more of a developing.
I guess who do you have to speak to here in Toronto to get one going here now?
I would love to. We just need to find a piece of land and
Ontario place.
Yeah. Well, World Cup, but that's that's coming up. But no, I would love to talk to the city here. I was actually in New Jersey / New York this past August, and I was showing this to some people there. They're like, "Why don't you talk to the city of New York? They're converting old warehouses and into shelters, the little villages, indoor." Right. So that's another thing where my pod thing comes in interesting. So. And we were just chatting. I was talking with my wife's uncle there, and he's like, no, the city of New York is buying out these old warehouses like the meatpacking district and Tribeca and all those areas. And they're actually converting them. The city's paying, you ready for this one? $4,000 per bed per month to get this going. Okay. This is what you told me. I don't want to, city of New York calling me saying that's not true, but a lot of money per bed per month. Because there's a need for it. Because what's happening in the sanctuary city, so they're all coming there and they don't know where to house all these people. So they're getting all these old, they're paying people who have warehousing, who have commercial space in New Jersey and wherever, and they're converting them into like just small shelters.
Isn't there resistance going on because of the owners who own these dwellings? Thinking
sure, but that's why
I've been hanging on to it, so then I want a developer to come along that's going to throw a 100-story building here.
Well, in the meantime, that's why they're paying a lot of money per bed to make it happen. Like if this small piece is giving you X amount of dollars every month, imagine how much you can make money out of here. 20 grand a month, just out of a small little room here. And how big is your warehouse? So it's becoming where like, listen, we'll pay you a premium, make it happen, help us, So I just had one conversation with him. We were chatting about it, and I thought about looking into it. I haven't looked into it too much, but it's kind of starting to be more and more and more. Like the more I kind of went into it, the more I'm seeing that there's more of a need for it. And that's why I'm like, this is why I went through all that stuff and all the setbacks is to basically get
it's adding everything that you're bringing to the table. Mm-hmm. It has a component of all of it.
Exactly. So
do you want to try to call him? Or
yeah, let's do it. I'm going to call him right now.
See if he's aware. See if you want to just briefly have a conversation. Then we can probably set up a whole show just to dive deep into this later on.
I would absolutely love to. I'll call him on Facebook. Let me...
Introducing Alt Labor Solutions, the game changer for contractors and laborers. Are you a contractor needing skilled labor, or have labor in need of quick shifts? Or how about buying, selling, or renting tools, material, and equipment? Connect easily with contractors and find resources hassle-free through AltLabor's Solutions online platform. Post job listings with project details, browse public resumes, and choose the right person for the job. Explore their job board for new opportunities and connect with top talent. AltLabor Solutions revolutionizes the labor industry with a user-friendly interface, secure payments, and a supportive team. Visit them at altlaborsolutions.com and start connecting with other contractors today. This message is proudly supported by the Construction Life. What are you going to call them on WhatsApp or?
No, I got them on my little Facebook thing here, and maybe I can get them in here.
7 hours ahead?
7 hours ahead, exactly 11:02, like what I told them. It should be picking up. Might take a couple, whatever, but let's see here. I got them right in the mic. I got to plug them in, right?
No, you don't need to plug. You're going to put it around the mic. That's it.
Perfect. And I'll just turn around.
Yep.
All right, perfect.
If he picks up.
Yeah, he should pick up. Let me try him again. He should call me back in a minute. Anyways, let me see. Oh, here we go.
It's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock p.m. there.
Yeah. Okay, let me try him again.
Would he have to be logged into Facebook?
No. I have it right on my phone. I just he just has to probably either log in or because he's literally in Kenya right now. So I told him I'd be calling him around now. So
you weren't kidding about that phone being loud, eh?
Yeah,
that's good. At least the mic will hear it. No,
yeah,
keep it loud.
It shouldn't be a problem. He said that. I'm like, perfect. It's right here. It's right next to the mic too. So let's see if he answers. If not, we'll keep going. I'll probably call back.
That's fine.
He usually does that. He calls back in a couple of minutes. Hey, Robbie, just calling you. We're on the show. I was just going to call you on my phone. You can just kind of dial in on over this, and then you can chat with everybody. So call me back as soon as you can. Bye. So anyway, so that's kind of what we're doing here. So this one here is my passion project, and I'm looking for me where I want to take ACAD Modular is to more of this kind of stuff. So.
I think you're going to need a consultant to come with you, and I think a Portuguese consultant that has a podcast to come along with you to kind of just like...
Kenya used to be a Portuguese colony, right?
Probably. Portugal, way back when, I had nothing to do with it. Yeah. Was colonizing a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But again, I had nothing to do with it.
There's a beautiful castle there.
If you're going down there, like I'll make my own way down there, but I definitely would love to come and visit, man, 100%, and check it out. While you start constructing it, I would love to see that, man.
For sure. This one will be a kind of a hybrid, locally built materials, the first one at least.
Even better, and all the more reason why it should be.
Yeah, right? Because it's also educating people on how to build this, and it's the same thing as we're trying to do in Brevard County, Florida. We're trying to do here,
but the same principles about educating that core age group.
Yes,
of showing them the possibilities to be. Here's some opportunities for your life.
Yeah,
right. That's what the whole purpose of this.
And so many people, man. So many people are hard on this generation. They're just so hard on them. Like,
not giving them opportunities.
Give them an opportunity. Show them. Teach them. Us as elders, it's our responsibility. Instead of just saying they're lazy, they're this, they're that. Give them an opportunity. Show them. Educate them. Like, Tim's son here. Like, if you could see my friend Tim in Atlanta, he's a wonderful guy. He's a master herbalist. Like, he grows everything from this is Tim's son here.
Okay.
Like, the kid, he
knows his stuff.
Whole thing. Like, this kid can grow anything now.
Yeah.
And he just gave him an opportunity, and he's just a really talented kid, and he knows how to grow. Like, he grows this. He did an entire garden. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just gave him a shot. This is in Atlanta. They have this is a peace garden thing. Look at these kids, how young they are, and they're just learning how to do gardens, right? And hold on, let me restart it. This is in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta's an amazing city. If you haven't been,
I've been to Atlanta.
It's such a fun city.
3 times I've been to Atlanta.
Such a fun city.
I just I don't like that every street's named Peachtree.
Yeah. So this is a community garden that they did, and there's Robbie again. Hopefully he calls me back. But they just gave him a small little piece, right, out of Atlanta behind this corner store. He's like, I want to build a garden here, and I said, okay. And then he trained kids and the youth, and as they're building it, they're just showing them how to do this, and now Tim's son is just he's like a master grower now. Kid's a genius.
That's crazy,
right? And that's go anywhere from like 7 years old all the way up to like teenage years.
You got to give them the opportunity, man. See what
give them an opportunity, show them how to do it, and guide them.
So that's just the back of the convenience store.
That's the back of the convenience store.
That's it.
That's it. That's all they did. That, and then they turned into a fully functional community garden with fruits, vegetables,
and everybody was helping out.
Everybody's helping out. Community thing. This is where actually I came up with Peace Village here. When I saw this, I started looking at it, and I said, Robbie, you can make a whole village out of this, surrounding this. He said, what do you mean a whole village? I said, you can make a whole village. I will do this, and I'll do a whole village surrounding this concept. So the central core of every Peace Village is a garden. Grow the garden, grow your own food.
That's the most important part of it. Because that's
look at this. You know, these kids, they're actually doing the work. It's not like a photo shoot, and they're like, okay, do this. And no, they actually built this thing.
There's lots of red dirt in Atlanta.
Yeah,
a lot of red dirt.
Very fertile. You can grow anything. You spit somewhere, and something will grow. It's just amazing. Atlanta's such cool. I love the airport too. Out of all the U.S. airports I've gone to, it's one of my favorites because it's huge.
Yeah.
There's always a place to sit.
Yeah.
Hardly any lines for food. Like if you haven't been to Atlanta, you've been.
I've been.
The bullet train going. It's massive.
Yeah. It's a great town.
No, it's an amazing city. So and that's and look at them. They're just building a whole.
And they're growing things. Then they get back every week and they can see it grow.
Yeah, and then they actually got like chickens in there and started doing eggs and so this is where actually was started Peace Village. Is when I saw this. This is probably about 2018, I would say. 2019. That's Tim there. 2018, 2019, and then that's what started this, and the whole community just kind of just got behind it. And he was just one guy saying, "Can I build a garden here?"
So he's done in Florida, he's done Atlanta.
Florida, Atlanta, and now Kenya. We're hoping to do the rest of the country. We're looking into Illinois as well.
Why is he not? Or I'm assuming maybe he does, but I'm just assuming some, very heartwarming, wealthy individuals jump on board.
He does. He is actually. He knows a lot of. He knows people very. I don't want to say names because I don't know if you can clear them.
But he's
very
having conversations.
Big people, and they're the ones actually I've been supporting him on this. But the thing is that they've been supporting him to this point. But we need to get the first village started, and they're like, "Oh wow, you did it! Okay, here's a big bunch.
Here's a possibility.
Here's a big, huge sum of money to make it happen, right? So proof of concept, right? That's the whole thing. You could
totally build one in Toronto. You could totally build one in Hamilton.
I want to. Like, look, I'm Canadian. I love this country. I love the United States, but I also love Canada too. And I want to do this in Canada too. There's a chapter, ITTS chapter in Toronto. So that's one that I've been working with some interns actually out of Humber College in Oakville, and trying to get some interns and trying to do the same thing, youth development and doing all that here too as well. But mainly for me, it's advisory board construction. So a lot of people are going to come up to me and saying, "Look at my cool product," and then that's the kind of stuff that I can introduce into the Peace Villages and do all that. So that's kind of what we do here. So you can see when the garden's over. Look what it came into. It just became like a huge...
Well, we'll touch base. You'll connect me with him. We couldn't get him on the horn today.
We couldn't get him on today, but I will get him.
We'll connect him.
Maybe you can do like a full feed or something like that. I can get you in there.
Yeah.
And then
we can do it normally. We've done the Zoom shows before, so it's all good.
And then, but that's essentially it, man.
That's a lot, man. You got a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I do. So far I've been proud that I got that on my... Yeah, it's a lot on my plate. So I am looking for more people to either donate to the Peace Village or even looking to hire me to
just work and get together, collaborate.
Yeah,
share some ideas. That's the whole point of it.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of collaborating, actually, there's a company called ShareCam. So this gentleman that owns this company or part owner of this company, I knew from the solar days.
They're out of where?
Out of Peterborough.
Oh, they're Canadian.
They're Canadian. So ShareCam actually called me up. I'm going to be meeting with them actually later today about developing a. I'm going to tell them the whole process of how it's currently being done, and then I'm going to work with them on developing a robotics thing on how to actually streamline and produce the modular units faster and more efficiently using what the equipment that they have. So they're about like 15 people. They do robotics and
they've designed the robots here?
They design and build the robots here in Peterborough, and then they do turnkey industrial automation upgrades. You do modernization retrofits.
Wow.
And the gentleman, Ahmed, he's electrical engineer by trade. And, he just, some of the stuff is really impressive, but they don't have anything in the modular space. So he says, you know the modular space. I said, yeah. And he said, how can robotics and automation help? I said, well, in order for Canadian builders to compete, there's a lot of Chinese company coming in. There's German companies coming in. They already do it that way.
Yeah.
So they're just bringing all their machines here and setting them up, and they're saying, well, how much you do? 10 a day? We do like 50. We do 100. So the Canadian companies need to go more automation to keep up because the people are coming, right? If you're doing hand-built cars and Ford's going to open up right next to you, You better automate and keep up with it.
You're going to get pushed out. Simple as that, right?
And I said, that's the biggest thing is you said, okay, well, why don't we look at how we can do this and offer. So it's not just for the bigger stuff, right? For the bigger companies who I hope to show this concept to once it's proven to the other modular builders. It's also medium and smaller builders that are looking to build ADUs. So they have like 10,000 square feet, on a property. How can I do this where I can actually build these things on my property? Well, invest in this once it's done. Invest in this package, and you can build 15 ADUs, 10, 15 ADUs a week or something like that. So I want to have the micro and the macro in. So I can go to somebody like ATCO, right, and say, hey, here's my macro solution. Here's SureCam. Let's partner with them. This is what we can do. People like Sabrina at Faro. There's a solution for you to help punch up more units.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Could you logistically, I guess, build an ADU?
Yeah.
Let's say it's a 20 foot by 20 foot print, 2 stories. So that works out to be about 800 square feet, right? Could you build it all as a modular unit, transport it, and crane it into the backyard? Yeah. Put it in place.
Totally. Yeah.
And then just hook up your utilities at that point.
Yes. That's what my pods are, my goal for having my pod.
That's the pod idea. That's basically it.
That's basically what it is. Now, in a perfect world, yes. Sometimes there's things called hydro lines where you got to get creative.
Okay, but they're not in the way and you just got other dwellings, your neighbors and things like that. You just crane it and bring it in.
That's it.
What's the weight of a unit? Like, what's the pod unit weight?
So a 10 by 10 can weigh anywhere from like 5,000 on the very light side, like the blank ones, and then one that's fully about 10,000, 15,000 pounds.
I don't know the crane limitations, but I'll find out soon enough.
They'll take the medium
weight.
Oh yeah, like the drywall cranes can probably lift some of these things. Those big ones that plant down, they use those for some of the smaller, unless it's high rise. But
talk about efficiency, because you could easily build it, put it together. You have all your tail ends for all your utility services, and drop it right on helicos or whatever you want to do.
Helical piles,
and then you connect your system, and it's done.
The helical piles, put it in, or your foundation, whatever it is. Grab it, put it in place, hook it up to the existing utilities, and then you get your occupancy permit, and you're done. So you go from foundation to occupancy in a single swoop, single jump, right? So that's for like if somebody has a small home addition. My bathroom's so freaking small, I want an ensuite. I'm in a bungalow and I don't have an ensuite. Okay, we'll buy one of these, you drop it in the back, there's your ensuite, ready to go. So, and then dealing with my company is that if you need a permit for the opening and structural drawings for the opening to go in, that's what we do as well. That's the kind of retrofit approach.
So they just get the wheels spinning. I'm just trying to think of what you can.
Oh yeah, you can do a lot. So that's why into next year, hopefully when I launch the pods, that's going to be early next year. That's a clever idea. Very. As soon as possible. So I'm trying to go as soon as possible doing that. So I would have a solution for producing these things if you want to. I have a solution for...
You'd have to partner with a manufacturer to produce them?
Yes. And that's what we're currently looking to do. So, so we're that's why it was a pleasure you introduced me to Faro.
Faro, Sabrina,
Faro was great. ATCO, they're awesome. ATCO have a big history with them, and they've been really good because... I'm just a little design company, and they took a chance on me. And
everything's a little something at the very beginning.
Exactly, and I don't mean to berate myself, but it's just it's
I get it.
So I was kind of say I'm a consultant. I've been in the modular industry 12 years.
But it's the meeting of the minds at now, like that. It's just like you want to just keep on people that are going to contribute. Simple as that. And people that want to dismiss it, then don't talk to those people.
Exactly.
Talk to somebody else. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
I mean, there's 8 billion of us out here.
No,
exactly. 1 or 2 saying, that's...
Heck, it could be some guy actually come in and say, you know what, I'll build these things myself. What do I need? Okay, fine. Here, I'll get a warehouse and go for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do is to kind of do that, do my villages, and kind of do it that way. So, that's...
awesome, man.
Yeah, that's what I've been working on. So...
Awesome, dude. It's good to see you. We're going to wrap it up.
Likewise,
www, again, you can get the website, www.acadmodular.com or .ca.com. And then email to get a hold of you, just info, or is it admin?
Admin at, you just admin at acadmodular.com. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. And then also on IG to reach out to them. But keep me informed on the villages and everything what's happening. And then you'll make the introductions, and then we'll have more conversations.
Absolutely, I definitely will write them down, and I'll get you hooked up to all of them. So.
Awesome, man.
Good to go, man.
That's it, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks. We're out of here.